Hey guys, Kane here. So there is another topic that I would like to discuss today, and that would be quite a big topic, though I will not cover it fully, and that is choosing the factions you want to play. At first glance, sure, it may look easy to you and you can change whenever, so long as you just put enough money. Well, it is actually not as easy. The thing about this is, every faction has its pros and cons, and every faction will be strong or weak, depending on what is released and on whether developers want to deactivate half of their skills. Focusing too many will spread your own resources too thin, and people even lower VIP level or even weaker will have an easy chance to beat you. Again, I can use myself as an example and my own server. It won't be like a, hey, these guys are bad or any of the sort. It is just that the decision making that most likely was pretty bad, and I perhaps think some of them just keep following the bad routes. So when I started to play this server, I started with the goal to have an overpowered Inferno formation, and most of my farming, resources and so on went to Inferno, to the point that before even my own Rashka was able to beat Sandros of a high VIP level. But I could not hold those rankings and I was being kicked down. I was rank 2 arena, then rank 5, then 7, then 4 or 3, and now I am rank 1. Most of these guys in this arena need to counter me to beat me, and all I need to do is just to enter the battle and click quick battle. And that is not because, yo, I am so overpowered or a god at this game or any of the sort. It is mainly because these people focus too many factions and are still continuing to focus too many factions. And that is maybe what they like to do, but that is not efficient in this game and it will lose your ranks. So I personally went with Inferno and then Rampart. And when Dungeon came out, I noticed that the two SR plus units are pretty overpowered and started to focus on Dungeon as well. There is no other faction that I will focus apart from maybe one-off units from some others. So 3 factions, Rampart, Dungeon and Inferno. At the beginning it was only Inferno and Rampart though. Most of these guys here focused more than 4 formations, and all 3 are VIP 15. I can say Wiggs has 4 because he was using Necropolis, then switched to Conflux, then to Tower, then to Dungeon. I also know he has somewhat making Inferno as well, I believe. So too many of his resources are being split into too many factions, underpowering most of his teams. I do not mind that if, say, he takes a 1 unit from a specific faction and upgrades it, that is completely fine. But he is upgrading multiple units of each faction to the max, and when it comes to money, having 3 good formations is very costly. Halanx, I am not sure if Halanx actually went for Necropolis early, but he was a huge Kilgore, so Stronghold was his main. Then Tower, then Fortress and Inferno, with some SSRs of other factions and even SR Plus being heavily upgraded. So he split into more than 4 or even more than 5 factions or formations. I do not say he's weak, but he can counter me, but I can just place my units wherever and beat him at the current moment, because almost everything that is deployed on my field is maxed out apart from emblems and SSR potential, of course. Similar aspects can be said the same about Peaches, so you need to select a couple of factions and stick to them. The thing is, you need to more or less know that you want to play this one particular faction as your main, and then build 1 or 2 more formations which will be beneficial for your main. For example, I know Rampart will have decent tanks, so there was a pretty long meta where I used Rampart tanks in Xeron, and many others followed as well. This may return though. There's many dungeon debuffers that are insanely useful in almost any formation and so on. Need to look at the faction and see if it will be the best thing for you and your formation. Preferably, when you would select those factions, more than 1 unit should be useful for you, because you can just easily pick a unit from any other faction and slowly upgrade it. But preparing a faction itself just takes too much resources. It may be silly and such, but compared to these guys in arena, they have spent 4 times more than me at minimum. Wiggs probably 6 or 7 times more. If they lose, they go to the next overpowered faction with 0 potentials and 0 awakens and play it when another overpowered comes, and they go there. But then there comes a time where that doesn't matter anymore if one person has a fully decked out formation, be that ramparts with UR units of course, be that Inferno or be that Dungeon and so on. A proper invested and decked out formation will more or less remain okay even when things appear that can counter it. And if it is a huge counter, yes, you may lose a rank, but eventually you will get it back with the next few patches. And when it comes to VIP 15 players, don't think of these guys as weak or anything. I beat multiple VIP 15s and even Krakens on cross server with my main Xeron formation versus their mains or second mains. I lose to some too who were actually pretty well prepared, Dragon Mutares and so on. The less you focus on multiple factions and invest into what you have to make it good, the better your results should be. At least in my case, most of the diamonds go towards Inferno, and since UR cost is now half of what they are in Chinese servers, I will pour some diamonds in Dungeon and have 2 strong-ish formations, plus Rampart, which is fairly cheap for the cost, since most of their units are just free to obtain. Anyways, that's just something I wanted to cover up, since too many people make this mistake and too many people throw so much resources and money and end up being beaten by lower VIPs who actually invest into particular factions. Thanks for watching guys, and stay safe.